Welcome, rail fans, railbirds, and model railroaders. We all have stories of our model railroad journey. The pictures you will see, everyone has a special meaning to me, and I want to share them with you. This is my top 10 that you will see and hear about. My first picture was published in Walter's 1985 HO Train catalog. Besides a check for $10, a nice thank you letter, and a free catalog, it was very exciting to see a picture in print. This is number 1 of the top 10. In the scene is a Lehigh Valley locomotive painted in a unique paint scheme, carrying a load of Collins pine package lumber. In the August 1986 issue of the National Model Railroad Association magazine, called The Bulletin, I had my first article published, a one-page story on constructing commercial cargo in the Open Loads monthly feature. A thrilling experience and the start of my new sub-hobby. Modelers usually build things they are familiar with, and since I'm from the anthracite coal region of northeastern Pennsylvania, I wrote about column coal, not normal coal, but a unique byproduct, leftover pieces, fragments of coal, silt, shale, and debris. This is number 2 of my top 10. In 1988, Prototype Modeler magazine published a 6-page story on modeling a bagging company. This is my first picture on a small part of the cover. This model company is called Column Tech Limited. Note the shaded sign showing a change to a usable product. Column coal piles, called column banks, has a special building to gather the column coal for processing, grind it, then sent by hoppers to power plants that have injection furnaces, and to companies that will bag them in 2 sizes for filters. Here you see a bucket crane for filling a raised former hopper that will be used for filling sacks. The prototype company does this inside a building. A special vacuum mounted on a truck will be used to fill large bags. The bags will be shipped out by truck or boxcars. Here's the front of the building that was previously used as a different company. To the right, a dump trailer truck, and below, the blue vacuum loader on a truck. Behind, a front-end loader carrying a 1-ton bag to the boxcar. Note the forklift loading 100-pound sacks on a truck. Here's a picture of a boxcar that is used. It is a DF, damage-free boxcar, with movable walls to keep the load from shifting. It also won an award. Remember 35mm slides? The article must have been good when you get congratulations from your mother-in-law. This power plant complex uses selective compression. Note in the fenced yard in back, behind a transformer, I use part of an old-fashioned flash cube as an electrical control component, something different. I dedicated this model to one of my uncles, who was a locomotive engineer that delivered coal and removed ashes from a power plant. On a family trip back to Pennsylvania, the local news reported a train derailment at a street crossing. These pictures show the re-railing process. The Pocono Northeast Railway contracted Hulsher to do the job. Note the caterpillar with a hoist and counterweight. I had the components to model this scene, and it was selected for my first full cover. This is number 3 of the top 10. In this article about a brewery, I was able to interview the quality assurance manager. In the article, I make believe it was a phone conversation. This was my longest story, which took 12 pages. Like most publications, you learn a lot about the subject. Something I never knew: some grain silos are underground. Another thing I learned was the leftover boiled grain is moved to a mash tank. Then farmers use this mash to supplement their animal feed. So, some cows are eating beer ingredients. Think about that. And here is my model before adding scenery material. This set of pictures are very unusual. They were taken 5 months apart at the same location, Pittston, Pennsylvania Junction. They show the prototype and the model I did of a caboose before and then after a fire. This photo essay was published in the Scale Coupler magazine. The idea of this picture came from seeing a picture in the 1988 Jersey Central calendar. After working on the different requirements and earning the 7 certificates of the Achievement Program that took around 10 years, I received my Master Model Railroad Certificate, number 157, at the 1990 National Convention in Pittsburgh. Here I am with 2 grandchildren at the time, my first grandson and my only granddaughter. Wait till you see picture number 49. This rocket-looking missile is a chemical gas maker. At a chemical plant, it sits upright and through a process separates air into different industrial gases. This oversized unit will be transported by a special train as a dimensional load in the United States and to seaports for foreign customers. I modified a missile model kit to create this heat exchanger. I did a presentation at the 1993 National Convention at Valley Forge. The story was in Railroad Model Craftsman, Perspective, and a short article called High and Wide. In this picture, I made up the billboard sign on a computer. Also, I added a beer bottle cap. It was in Walter's 2015 HO reference book. In this scene, in order to show distance, I use silhouettes, then building fronts and flats. I've given several clinics on this topic. The flags came from Google, the US, and the Bronx. The monument are pieces of an overpass, then spray painted with Krylon textured paint. The 2 figures are Mr. Bronx and Major Deegan. I modified a barge to carry 1 car. The loading crew needs to balance the freight inside the shed. Besides the article in the NMRA magazine, the model won first place at the 2017 National Convention in Orlando. Here is the other side. The super doesn't like the street art, but it is a good message. In back is a small living space. Note the Bronx flag and check out the coffee flowing. Here is a unique car, a Western Union material car that traveled with a passenger train for drop-off at work sites. Note the indoor and diaphragm for crew access to the passenger train dining car. This model is an Ambroid Craftsman kit made in 1959 and sold for $5.25. I now use it in maintenance away service on my New York Harbor Railroad. It also won an award that matches the prototype. My second full cover is my layout that was featured in November 2018. It is a rail marine service between New Jersey and the Bronx on the Harlem River, like the Lehigh Valley used to do. The float bridge is adjusted to line up with the car float rails to compensate for tides and different deck heights. That silver motor has a winch to pull in the car float. Then it is pinned with 4 large metal bars and tied. A special unloading procedure will be done to keep the car float balanced, and the same for loading. This is number 4 of my top 10 pictures. This is an overview of the right side of my railroad. I like a lot of details and weathering. To see how I built my railroad, it is explained on the Florida Citrus Model Train Society website. This rail marine scene won first place in Walter's 2019 reference book, The Magic of Model Railroading section. This is number 5 of the top 10. This prototype story is about putting a 98-year-old trolley back in operation. This is part 1 of 3 parts. Note my traction awards. And in the lower right corner, where I grew up. This is number 6 of my top 10. On the 3rd page of this article, here I am, surrounded by railroad cars. This area and its history is part of my heritage. And the chart tells the trolley history and plan. This is number 7 of the top 10. This is part 2 of the streetcar renovation. It has a long way to go. The Wall of Honor and the young miner tells quite a story. I did not take a picture of the miner but gave credit to the photographer. This is number 8 of 10. Part 3 will be done when the streetcar operates at the Electric City Trolley Museum in Scranton, Pennsylvania. My railroad story was also in the Sunshine Region newsletter, the Journal Box, showing a load of Pillsbury flour being placed over the unloading hatches for transfer to the Pillsbury plant. Note the 4 flags on the municipal building: the U.S., New York State, New York City, and the Bronx. In this scene, one feature you might miss is the black truck with a stick figure on the door. In part 9 of my video series, I explain this skeleton driver. When you write and take pictures of models or a prototype, then research the content, you find yourself learning a lot of information you never knew. It's an education for you and others. And you might go to places or see things from a different viewpoint, either in person or virtually. It's quite an adventure. Also, along the way, you meet a lot of characters and their stories. In an upcoming issue of the NMRA magazine, you will see all of this in an article called Meeting Ed Ravenscroft, Master Model Railroader 7. Quite a story. You have seen examples, and I'll show you more. Let's continue. In an issue of the journal, these pictures show the art of model railroading. It's always greener on the other side. If you look at the rear end of the cow to the left, you will see his pile of fertilizer. In the perspective picture, when I was setting up this scene on a piece of fiberboard on top of a ladder, everything fell into the lake. This type of art is called mixed media. It was accepted into competition at the annual art show in Pembroke Pines, Florida in 2019. However, it did not win. It shows a HO milk truck inside a real milk bottle from the same dairy. In the May 2021 issue of the NMRA magazine was a story about a barber shop and a small art studio. Note the mustache on the building. On the side of the building is a silhouette of me with 3 letters: A, R, T. Some different views. In back, half a car is used as an awning. And note the trailer going by. The Sunshine Region 20th anniversary car rides again. This running hot article in the journal box was the first of an ongoing series where the car tours different members' layouts. Not many model a subway train. Since my layout is located in the Bronx, I wanted to do one subway station. I built one platform of the Grand Concourse Station, the oldest in the Bronx. This scene in Walter's reference book is special to me. I used to take my friend George to the racetrack, and his favorite bet was the exacta box, where you pick 3 horses and 2 must come in first and second to win. Note his last name. He says it means All-American Boy. And here is George with Miss World Hooter, and she is from Pembroke Pines, Florida. She wrote on his calendar, "George, you are hot, just like our wings." Note they sponsor breast cancer awareness. Twice a year, several waitresses came with meals, danced with the veterans, took pictures at the Nininger State VA Nursing Home, a 5-star nursing home in Pembroke Pines, Florida. Sandy Nininger was the first Medal of Honor recipient in World War II, and he was from Fort Lauderdale. This type of passenger locomotive has a double cab, so at the end of the terminal, it does not need to be turned around, but does a runaround to get back in front. Note the red plaque below a door. During World War II, some employees joined the service. 7 died, and the Jersey Central honored them, naming 7 passenger diesels for them. When the locomotive service life was over, the railroad gave the plaque to the family. This picture introduces an article about becoming an author. It has a mixture of items to represent writing and photography. My binder that holds copies of my 74 publications, a camera, an article, and a computer. On the computer is a picture of me holding my great-granddaughter, Shay. She is the daughter of Danielle, who was pictured in my Master Model Railroader story in 1991. This is number 9 of my top 10. And picture number 50 plus. After 10 years submitting pictures for the NMRA calendar project, I finally got selected for the 2023 calendar for the month of December. This is number 10 of my top 10. back to art competition and the beauty of life. And its sunset. And as a quick review of my top 10, across the top, the '89 cover, Shay, my great-granddaughter, in the computer, and the 2018 cover. In the middle, the first picture in Walter's '85 catalog, the prototype modeler 1988 story of Column Cole, the NMRA 2023 calendar for December. On the bottom, Real Pace 2019, also showing my apartment. Walter's first place in 2019. Me in 1940 plus. And Real Pace 2021, showing the Wall of Honor where over 35,000 men and boys passed away due to coal mining. And here is number 1 of my 195 pictures that were published. And that's a sample of my journey of 37 years publishing pictures of model and prototype trains so far. Thanks for watching.